Welcome, movie lovers, to another episode of Frame by Frame, a series dedicated to the craft of filmmaking. Now, different people go to the theater for different reasons. Some go to laugh.
Yeah, this helps. Yeah. That works good.
Some go to watch people get torn limb from limb. If you're somewhere in between, you're likely a fan of splatstick, a subgenre of horror comedy. It's one half slapstick humor, and one half splatter film gore. But horror comedies like these are tough to master, especially when it comes to tone. So how do you make a proper splatstick film? Well, I know just the right guy to ask.
Who the hell are you?
Name's Ash. Housewares.
So in commemoration of Ash vs. Evil Dead Season 2, I'll not only show you what splatstick's all about, I'll show you how Sam Raimi perfected the genre, one amputation at a time. Alright, so let's start with the basics. Splatstick is a combination of slapstick comedy and the splatter film. If you don't know what slapstick is, here's a smack to jog your memory. If that destroyed your last brain cell, just try to remember slapstick is exaggerated physical comedy. Splatter films rely on physicality too, but in a far less humorous way. These movies use special effects to show the graphic destruction of the human body. If you've ever seen Clive Barker's Hellraiser or Stuart Gordon's Reanimator, you know this genre's common denominator: gore. Splatstick films are full of this kind of extreme violence, but they weave physical comedy into these gruesome displays, often with a dash of absurdism. Why? To remind us of one important fact, that the barbarity we're watching isn't real. If a horror comedy fails to do this, it risks becoming tonally confused, either too terrifying to laugh at, or too tame to satisfy our bloodlust. And no film can show how to walk that tonal tightrope better than Sam Raimi's Evil Dead 2.
Swallow this.
First, a quick note on tone. It's the sum of every aesthetic decision a director makes on a film. So, for the tone to be cohesive, the intent behind all these choices has to be the same. What was Raimi's intent on Evil Dead 2? Well, far as I can tell, it was to make everything unrealistic to counterbalance the film's extreme violence. To see what I mean, let's start with Raimi's shot design. Many of his angles are reflexive, meaning they're meant to draw attention to the filmmaking process. Case in point, Raimi uses a lot of Dutch angles like these. Or super wide-angle lenses that bow the image. Distorting it to such a degree that we can't help but notice the unnatural perspective. Raimi also puts the pedal to the metal when it comes to camera movement. His dollies aren't subtle or invisible. F that. Their timing is often on the nose to help sell comedic beats.
Groovy.
Or they're sped up and follow crazy trajectories, like spiraling up into the air. Or smashing through a door frame. Hell, even car windows. Raimi calls attention to his scene transitions as well. Instead of using subtle J or L cuts, scenes are sometimes stitched together with match cuts like these. The visual continuity clashes with the sudden change in location. This disorients us, albeit for a split second, drawing our attention to the transition rather than the story. Even Raimi's lighting is unrealistic. If you're going for realism, there has to be a source for every light on screen, and the direction of that light has to correspond to the position of that source. But look at this shot again. There are no light sources in this part of the cellar. So what's illuminating Ash's face? Well, nothing. Another example? Try here in the cabin. You're telling me 3 lamps are throwing this much light around the room? No way. The exposure level here is totally unmotivated. And while we're talking visuals, what about Evil Dead 2's special effects? You know, the splat in Splatstick. Here, Raimi plays a tight game. He'll show gouts of blood, sure. Yet notice that the coloration is rarely that of actual blood. Here, for example, it's pink. Later, it's black. And there's gallons of the stuff spewing everywhere. Realistic? No, but that's the point. With a budget of just $3.6 million, Raimi couldn't afford big budget effects anyway, so he made that limitation work for him. How? By using cheaper effects, whether that meant going practical, using miniatures, or stop motion. Anything that looks fake even to the untrained eye. Then Raimi defies conventional wisdom further by brightly lighting his cheesy effects, or granting the stop motion serious on-screen hang time. And he does this for a simple reason. Raimi wants us to know he's in on the joke, and for us to see that the monsters of the night are really just chainsaw-wielding mannequins. Raimi's visceral visuals are attention-grabbing, sure, which makes it easy to overlook just how well he directs his actors. Cheesy line readings and big performances remind us this is a comedy.
You hear what I'm saying? I'm all right!
Ash, played by Bruce Campbell, though, clarifies that this isn't just comedy, it's slapstick. The poor schmuck's always getting hurt, often in ways that should kill him. But Campbell's clownish reactions reassure us that's never gonna happen. Raimi even recycles a slapstick gag from the Three Stooges in Evil Dead 2. Now, if you're a fan of the Stooges, do you remember when they tossed cherries into an opera singer's mouth? Well, here's the same joke in Evil Dead 2, only here, Raimi uses an eyeball instead of cherries. Okay, I know I'm talking your damn ear off, so let's end with the audio. Raimi steers away from realism in this category too. When Ash is grabbed here, just listen to the sound effect Raimi uses. Sounds like something you'd hear in a cartoon, right? It's also unnaturally loud, so it's obvious Raimi wanted to draw attention to it. Same with these punch effects. Where else in cinema can you find a similar use of sound? Slapstick.
Oh!
Okay, so let's make sure we know what we learned before we close the Necronomicon for good. First, splatstick films are a blend of slapstick comedy and splatter film gore. Second, for slapstick to work, the audience has to be reminded that the bloodbath they're watching isn't real. Third, Evil Dead 2 works for this same reason. Raimi threw reality right out the f***ing window with reflexive camera work, big performances, unrealistic special effects, and cartoonish sound design. And fourth, I know I'm not supposed to recite anything out of this book, but there's a funny passage here that reads, Kunda, Trana, Virata.
Mistro Bean.
Thank you for watching, ladies and gentlemen, and make sure to subscribe to this channel, Film Theory, for more fantastic film-related content. If you'd like to check out more Frame by Frame, click the frame to the left to watch an episode on the origin of found footage horror films. Or if you'd like to check out a Film Theory episode on the movie Ouija, click the frame to the right. And until next time, my name is Kyle, and this has been Frame by Frame.